welcome to At the Forefront, Fintech Conversations. I'm Sam Belden, VP and Head of Content at Forefront. And with me today is Chris Hurley, Senior Vice President, Director of Institutional Sales at CAPIS. Chris, welcome to At the Forefront.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So CAPIS is an institutional broker that, among other things, provides outsourced and supplemental trading services to the buy-side community. And today we're going to talk about why firms operating overseas, internationally domiciled firms looking to trade in the U.S. Make a particularly good use case for outsourced trading. So we'll talk about some of the factors that are driving the need here, some of the specific challenges that the right outsourced trading provider can deliver to these firms. And we'll talk about some of the criteria that buy-side firms should maybe look to have in mind when they are evaluating the landscape of providers. So we'll get to all that, but let's start at the beginning, Chris. Maybe tell us a little bit about some of the relevant trends that you're seeing around why overseas firms are looking to trade in the U.S. and some of the challenges that they face in doing so.
I think, Sam, that the trends are, the main problem that people are trying to solve has always been there, and that's time zones, right? When you're trying to trade Europe from the United States, someone's got to be up in the middle of the night. And same with Europe trying to trade the US. And I think the trend of outsourced trading growing has caused more overseas managers to look to the US to find a partner that they can trust, that isn't conflicted with their business model, to help them trade in US hours, and also be able to have maybe access to better tools, better pools of liquidity, things of that nature, and also be able to help manage any sort of breaks that might happen with the trade in real time in the US. So it's solving a problem we've always had, which is time zones. And if you're a smaller manager, it's hard to find employees who are willing to work those hours, even if you're willing to pay them well for it. I just think a lot of professionals would rather try to live a normal life in a normal time zone, right, rather than being up all night and sleeping all day. So, we have the same problem here in the US trying to trade Europe.
Yep. Makes a lot of sense. So let's go into the details a little bit. So I know as far as CAPIS is concerned, you guys serve your outsourced trading clients with high-touch trading solutions in some cases, low-touch, in many cases both. Maybe we can go through each one of those in detail. So starting with low-touch trading, how do you think the right outsourced trading provider can help an overseas firm from that perspective?
Well, some of our potential clients that we've talked to and existing clients that we've talked to that are domiciled overseas had access to low touch trading. And that was their primary means of trying to get their trading done. The problem is you're fairly limited with your strategies, and most managers might have access to a handful of algorithm suites. CAPIS has access to over 35 different liquidity pools that we can route orders to, including some algo suites that may not be accessible to European clients that we find to be very excellent in being able to not cross the spread and get really superior results. So in talking to some prospects from Europe, we found that the tool set that they were able to access was very much limited compared to what we could access. Now, high touch trading is really what we do. And the difference primarily is, if you're just using an algorithm suite, you're never going to be able to get somebody on the phone, from a broker counterparty. Then that's low touch trading. In other words, your broker counterparty is hardly going to touch that trade, if at all. Everything is done electronically. High touch is where you have a sales trader, a position trader involved who is willing to speak with you on the phone to talk strategy, but also has access to street liquidity as well as the myriad different liquidity dark and lit venues that we have access to. So I think that most of our clients, it depends on the strategy they're running, Sam. If it's very liquid, large cap US names that trade like water, then using a VWAP algorithm and going to get a cup of coffee may be perfectly significant or perfectly acceptable, excuse me, for that client. However, if you're trading stocks that are illiquid or just tough to trade, it can make a big difference being able to find the liquidity where it is, whether it's in a dark venue, a lit venue, or from the Wall Street, other Wall Street brokers that we as an outsourced trading desk get coverage from.
Great. Fantastic. Appreciate that overview. Makes a lot of sense that, when you are operating, remotely across time zones, you really need the right partner to serve as your eyes and ears on the US market. Where can that liquidity be found? So makes all the sense in the world that you sort of need to deliver value in both areas and that they're both an integral part of trading in any market, but particularly when you are trading from far away. So thank you for that. Beyond the trading itself, because I know that outsourced trading is not just a story about trading efficiency. What do you see as some of the operational benefits that the right provider can offer to an overseas firm?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, just having your operations group present here in the U.S., working U.S. hours, helps to solve the same challenge as having a trader in U.S. hours. Most of the with us being on a T+1 settlement window, trades need to be matched and affirmed on trade date before 5 o'clock, p.m. And if there's any problems, they need to be resolved before 11 a.m. Eastern to avoid, a trade fail. So having boots on the ground, if you will, is always preferable to not having boots on the ground. Europe is, as you know, is still on a T+2 settlement window. So if your outsource partner needs to make sure that cash is available if you're a buyer, or stock is available if you're a seller, and because you have to, or you have financing arranged to either borrow stock or to borrow cash to settle a trade on a different settlement window. So those are the two biggest challenges that we try to help our clients solve.
Awesome. Makes sense. So I guess when you think about the criteria that managers should use when evaluating an outsourced trading provider, beyond just sort of checking the boxes, can you extend my reach from a high and low touch capacity? Can you support me on the operational side? What are some of the other criteria that you believe are important to have in mind as you sort of look at this landscape of providers?
I think finding a partner that has an unconflicted model, that does not trade along with or trade proprietarily against your assets, or owns a particular execution venue where the bias may be to try and execute in their own venue before they go beyond that venue to look for best execution. Research is another. When you have a partner that also provides research, believe it or not, sometimes if they pay attention to their clients' ideas, when you're dealing with a firm that doesn't provide proprietary research, there's very little information that can leak adversely against the manager. I think a lot of hedge funds in particular have that concern. Some of these guys are doing making big bets, and they kind of like to keep that quiet until their position is built. So I think the lack of conflicts is a big one. The other is experience. You want to have your buy side trader at CAPIS to be as experienced as you can get, whose experience extends not just to technology stacks like what OMS a manager might happen to use, but also asset classes, and then just being able to go find that liquidity. So, to switch hats in midstream, to go from the buy side experience hat to the sell side hat. So those when you can find all three of those things in tandem, you're usually probably going to be pretty happy with the partner you select.
Awesome. Well, Chris, thank you for that overview. I know that, determining how you're going to go about trading in a market where you are not based is definitely a non-trivial decision, and that, outsourced trading firms sort of fill an important role in filling that gap for firms across the world that want to access the U.S. markets. So thank you for that solid overview of the value that the right provider can deliver. If you'd like to learn more about CAPIS and their outsourced and supplemental trading services, you can go over to capis.com for a full rundown. Or for more episodes of At the Forefront like this one, you could head over to forefrontcoms.com, head over to the news and insights page, and check out a full episode archive. So until next time, this has been At the Forefront. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in. And Chris, thank you again for your time today.
Thanks for having me, Sam.